Not all estrogens are created equally. This is Dr. Rhonda, neurologist, UCLA menopause program. And guess what? UCLA has patents showing that Estriol is better for the brain. It's been designed for brain health, whereas estradiol has not.
I'm sure many of you have seen this video circulating on social media. So let's get into these claims that somehow estriol, the pregnancy estrogen, is better for your brain than estradiol. The idea mostly stems from research in women with MS, and there's a few animal studies. As much as I'm not a fan of animal studies, I prefer human trials. But as you say, these are all tied to Dr. Rhonda's work, which is credible work. Don't get me wrong. But is it true for the average woman? You know, the majority of us navigating menopause, trying to protect our long-term brain health? Nope, it's not. Let me explain the clinical reality. No human study has ever directly compared estriol to estradiol, especially when it comes to cognitive function or brain preservation. So it's a bold claim based on inference, not evidence. And you know me, around here, we like hard facts. And the evidence is that estriol in MS is exciting, but niche. Dr. Rhonda's NIH-funded study explored estriol as an add-on treatment. This was specific to multiple sclerosis. She had a 2016 phase 2 trial. Women were taking 8 milligrams of oral estriol, and all of the amazing results that came out of that sound great and look good on paper, but estradiol was never in the trial. The improvements that we're seeing with estriol happened in a specific population, younger women with autoimmune inflammation affecting their brains. It didn't mean estriol would outperform estradiol, especially not in healthy aging postmenopausal brains. Her claims are a leap, and they've never been tested. Estradiol is still the gold standard for brain health. Don't get me wrong, estriol is still considered investigational. We need more data, and more data is always a good thing. Estradiol has decades of data behind it, so why are we ignoring that? Why is she making wild, outlandish claims when none of that was shown in her research that she proudly references? What do we know for a fact about estradiol as per data in human trials? We know that it prevents gray matter loss, especially when started within that critical window postmenopausally. You know, that 10-year window that everyone talks about. It's been shown to preserve verbal memory and executive function in some very well-designed trials that are often referenced, like ELITE and KEEPS Cognitive. We know that it increases BDNF. We know that it enhances glucose metabolization in the brain. We know that it supports mitochondrial health. We know that it protects synaptic density, especially in the hippocampus and the prefrontal cortex. These aren't mouse models. These are human trials. The whole ERB spin is selective. It's not superior. It's a theory that estriol is better for the brain because it selectively activates ERB. That's oversimplifying the biology. Sure, ERB is involved in neuroprotection, but estradiol activates both ERA and ERB, and both receptors play critical roles in brain structure and function. Some regions of the brain, like the hippocampus, require ERA activation for optimal cognitive function and synaptic signaling. Estriol is a weaker estrogen. It is what it is. Its effects may be dampened in the absence of high receptor expression like we see during pregnancy. So in simpler terms, selectivity isn't always better. It's simply different. So if you are choosing hormone therapy for long-term brain health, especially after menopause, the current evidence still points to oral estradiol, not estriol, as the most validated option. So until we have head-to-head clinical trials comparing the two in average, healthy, postmenopausal women, not just those with MS. We really can't say that one is better than the other. Although we can say that estradiol is the one with decades of proven cognitive and structural brain benefits. Listen, Estriol is still in the theoretical and experimental category. I'm not saying to throw it out. I'm not saying her research is garbage. This is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that claiming Estriol is somehow better for the brain than estradiol is extremely premature. It's also misleading, especially when you're already in a very confusing hormone space where everybody has an opinion and some of them are not based on fact. It's a pretty great hypothesis, and eventually it might carve out a niche role in neuroinflammatory diseases. If it does, I'm 100% on board with this. But in terms of evidence-based support for women's brain health as we age, estradiol wins hands down. Let's let the science evolve before we go making bold claims. That's all I'm saying. I don't want you to let marketing leap ahead of the data. When a person or an institution hold a patent related to a compound or a delivery method which is being studied, to me, this introduces a potential for financial conflicts of interest. It's essential that we talk about this openly, especially when the science is being used to make broader clinical claims. It's red flags all over the place. So take those red flags and follow the patent. You know, the one that she's boasting about in the video. Let's talk about what doesn't get mentioned. Let's talk about what's not being said in the posts, in the interviews, on social media, in the claims. Let's talk about how UCLA owns patents on estriol-based therapies, and Dr. Rhonda is listed as an inventor. One of those patents covers the use of estriol for neuroprotection, including in menopause, cognitive decline, and MS. That means that if estriol gets FDA approved, licensed, and widely adopted, UCLA and potentially the inventors may benefit financially. I say may. They will. There's a financial stake in proving that estriol is effective and perhaps even superior than other forms of estrogen like estradiol. And while patents don't discredit the research, that's not what I'm saying, they do absolutely create an incentive to promote one compound over another. Conflict of interest doesn't mean the science is invalid. It simply means that Dr. Rhonda's team has published legitimate, peer-reviewed research with a little bit of financial gain, possibly in the future. The concern is how that research is being interpreted, promoted, and monetized, which is the issue I take with her video. It is a misrepresentation of the data. It is misleading, it is confusing, and it is not factually sound. Do with that what you will. Hopefully this helps clear up some of the misconceptions around estriol and estradiol. And if you ever want proof, it's in the pudding. And the pudding is the data. All you have to do is ask. In fact, if you follow my Substack, most times I will link to studies. I will highlight studies. I will provide the data to support the claims that I am making or to discredit claims I am highlighting. So be sure to follow along.